A dramatic new expose on the Obama insider, so powerful that even former staffers don't like talking about her or to her. They don't like me talking, but they don't mention Valerie Jarrett. I did it. Valerie Jarrett and the president, just ahead. Well, just out this weekend, a dramatic new expose on the Obama insider, described as the real power behind his presidency, and why Valerie Jarrett is the one person in this White House that no one wants to speak about, at least not publicly. But we're going to do it next.
From the world headquarters of Fox News, it's the Kelly File with Megyn Kelly.
A dramatic new expose about a senior advisor to President Obama is getting a lot of attention tonight. The New Republic publishing a piece on Valerie Jarrett, calling her the Obama whisperer, and suggesting no one has understood Valerie Jarrett's real role until now. The Liberal magazine quoting former communications director Anita Dunn, saying, quote, her role since she has been at the White House is one of the broadest and most expansive roles that I think has ever existed in the West Wing. And wait until you hear just how expansive that role has become. Bret Stephens is a Pulitzer Prize-winning foreign affairs columnist for the Wall Street Journal. So we did not elect her, but is she our shadow president?
Well, she's definitely the shadow chief of staff. I mean, Valerie Jarrett was kind of the ultimate political fixer from Chicago. She met the Obamas when they were still, before they were even married in 1991, and she's risen right with them. To me, the most interesting part of that New Republic story that you mentioned, Megyn, comes at the very beginning when the reporter is trying to talk to a White House source, and he's so afraid of her that he won't even speak off the record after he's left the administration. And the thought that this is a person who instills this kind of fear even among ex-staffers, is a worrisome idea. It conveys the sense that this is not so much an administration, Megyn, as it is a court, and she is one of the princelings in that court.
What does she do? What is it that makes her so valuable to him? What role is she playing that's extraordinary?
Well, by most accounts, she's the last person who talks to him at night. She sits in...
The last?
Well, maybe the second to last. Okay.
Wait a minute. That is news.
The second to last person who talks to him at night, the closest friend to Michelle Obama, as well as the president, the person who walks out the door with the president after he's had meetings. She sits in on meetings with foreign leaders, which means that there's some American foreign policy expert who's not at the table.
And she says she sits in, or they say she sits in on any meeting she wants to.
That's right, and it doesn't matter whether the issue is foreign or domestic, whether it's outreach to business, to the Hispanic community, gay community, black community. She is present at every single table, which means she's either the world's greatest expert on all subjects, or she's a hack who is doing Obama's bidding in perhaps a few too many places, and explains the competence problem that this administration
You were going to say something. I interrupted you. You said if she takes a seat at a foreign policy table, it's to the exclusion of somebody else?
Yeah, so imagine the president has a bilateral with, let's say, the president of Russia or the prime minister of Great Britain. Typically, what you have is 6 people come on one side, 6 people come on the other. The president might be with a Secretary of State, National Security Advisor, a couple of other people. Well, if one of those people is Valerie Jarrett, that's a Deputy Secretary of State or a Deputy Secretary of Defense who's not going to be at the table because she's there. She's substituting for the experts. Mm-hmm. And again, this comes down to, we clearly have a profoundly dysfunctional White House, a White House that's not communicating with Congress, not communicating with the public. You even heard the president come close to saying something like that. Valerie Jarrett, at her best, a person like a consigliere role, should be a connector to various communities. Mm-hmm. She's a disconnector.
Well, she is, according to the article. She's a connector to Hollywood celebrities. They say she's been a connector to Wall Street. You work for the Wall Street Journal. They say she's been a connector. She's been okay with, sort of the Wall Street fat cat folks.
Well, I mean, in fact, one of her first jobs in the White House was to be a liaison to the business community. And if you talk to anyone in the business community, relations between the president, between the White House and the business community have been poisoned. Partly that's policy reasons, but surely that's also because she hasn't been a quality ambassador.
Doesn't he need somebody like that who's got his back, who he can trust above all else? I mean, they say that she is not above keeping a blank list, begins with S. I've already sworn once on the program, so I don't know why I'm even bothering. It was worse than that one. But anyway, they say she has a least constructive list.
Yeah, I don't think, having an enemies list, the blank list, that's something out of the Nixon administration. And you saw how that turned out. Look, the important point is this. The person who a president should be able to rely on, no matter what, is his wife or his children.
She's probably also in that group.
No, that shouldn't be the case. In an administration, no one should not be expendable. President George H.W. Bush was very close to his chief of staff, John Sununu. After the midterms, he got rid of John Sununu. The second President Bush, very close to Donald Rumsfeld. He understood he needed to make a change. And that's why people in the Washington Beltway, journalists, are saying if the president is going to make a change to salvage the last 2 years of his administration, it should start with Valerie Jarrett. I doubt he'll do it, but that's where it should be first.
Yeah, the takeaways from the Washington Post, their top 7 takeaways from the article include that she's the most powerful black woman in White House history, that she is his post-racial race woman, and that that she is never, ever going to be fired. Ever going to be fired.
Well,
and the first rule of Valerie Jarrett is don't talk about Valerie Jarrett. I made that one up. Good to see you, Bret.
Good to see you, Megyn.
Well, as my daughter Yardley says when I catch her doing something, well, I did it. Joining me now, former Arkansas Governor Mike Huckabee, who's the host of Huckabee, right here on the Fox News Channel. He's also a former Republican presidential candidate.